So this week we've been focused heavily on recruiting, and today I want to focus on the Oklahoma Sooners as it pertains to recruiting, because not only did they receive a crystal ball for one of the most sought-after players in the class of 2023, but word has officially come through that they are one of the 5 for Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy as far as his official visits are concerned, which isn't much of a surprise, but we still do need to talk about that situation. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe that the Sooners ultimately land Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy? And let me know what you're thinking there. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification, because I do constant college football content and you don't want to miss any of it. And I'm on my push to 5,000 subscribers in my first year, and I'd love to have you along. And if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and comment down below, because those interactions are really big for content creators such as myself. But with all that being said and out the way, we need to talk about Oklahoma Sooners recruiting, and we're specifically going to focus on 2 names, because really one of them could create, or both of them really, could create massive waves in recruiting and will affect others. But first and foremost, we'll start with Malachi Nelson, the number 2 quarterback in the class of 2023, number 4 overall player, 6'3", 180 pounds right now, and he's comped to Justin Fields. This kid right here is special. This kid right here has the it ability, and he has the frame, the arm, the twitchiness, everything you're looking for. And the fact that Oklahoma is in such a good position with him has to make Sooners fans incredibly excited, because Oklahoma is pursuing some of the top receivers in the nation right now, and being able to secure yet another incredible passer into the future of your plans only helps solidify the pitch to some of those pass catchers, and there's a ton of great ones in the class of 2023. I've talked about this before. Getting in a high-level quarterback just elevates the class as a whole, and one thing Malachi Nelson has talked about that is really awesome to hear is that he wants to officially commit, or he's looking to officially commit this summer, so that way he can go ahead, get familiar with the coaches that will be on staff, get familiar with what's kind of expected, and then start recruiting for his class. And that's another reason I say a 5-star quarterback or a blue-chip guy really can change the outlook of a class, because they can be infectious. They can recruit incredibly well for you, especially offensive positions, and it's not like Oklahoma needed any help recruiting the offensive side of the ball anyways. But you add in a guy like Malachi Nelson, that he's going to be a part of the pitch with a Lincoln Riley, that's huge. But the Oklahoma Sooners have officially gotten the crystal ball on 24/7 Sports for Malachi Nelson, and I'm not surprised. I think right now OU is in the lead with this process, but it is important to note that they are not alone. They are in the lead, but there are other schools after him. And most specifically, I think if we had to say which school is the closest right now, it may be Clemson. I'm not 100% sure. It's really interesting because he needs to go camp at Clemson before they officially offer, if my understanding is correct. But he himself is very interested in Clemson. But look, OU right now, as much as Nick Saban is the greatest recruiter in college football, Lincoln Riley is the greatest recruiter of quarterbacks in college football, and there's really not a whole lot to say about it or against it. You know, there's nothing you can really knock as far as his quarterback production has gone. He has been a magician with the quarterback position, and so I full-heartedly understand when a quarterback is looking at Oklahoma and is thinking, yeah, that's the place to go. We've talked about it before as it pertains to DBs, and I've said before how I get that same feeling. There's a few institutions, but like LSU, you can never just question a DB going to LSU, because that's what they do, right? That's just kind of what LSU is known for, and it hasn't changed. It's always ran kind of very strong through the veins of the program, and quarterback is just what the Sooners do. So even though that they're not alone in this, Malachi Nelson dropped some big names when he was talking about where he was interested in, where he ultimately would like to visit this summer. We made a video talking about that, saying schools such as Clemson and Alabama were involved, and I understand that there's an uneasiness anytime you hear Alabama. Here's what I will say as it pertains to Alabama, though. Alabama has a 5-star quarterback in the class of 2022, Ty Simpson, and Alabama is after Arch Manning, the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2023. And something interesting Malachi Nelson has talked about is he's trying to be the feature guy. If he's going to be the quarterback of your class, he wants to be the feature guy. So the fact that he's interested in Alabama is big to me as an Alabama fan, but I still don't think that it's very likely that the Crimson Tide land him, with OU kind of having him as the focal point and Alabama splitting kind of their approach right now between he and Arch Manning. It's impressive that Alabama Alabama has made the cut this far, but I just don't see them making up the ground that OU has had, because similarly, apparently, USC was looking very good in this process until they started ramping up their recruitment of someone else. Malachi Nelson talked about that. He said he understands that USC has lost signal callers in the past because they put all their eggs in one basket and it didn't work out, but that just wasn't his deal. He felt like there was a breach of trust, and because of that, he's kind of backed off of USC. I think that the crystal ball to OU is solid based off of everything I know, which is very little, to be fair. The articles on 24/7 Sports about this are phenomenal. Go check them out. But I do think that the crystal ball to OU holds weight, and it will help with guys such as Brandon Inniss. It will help with all of these incredible offensive players in the class of 2023. But if we're looking specifically at the class of 2022, OU still has a ton to be excited about, and we've talked about it. We've talked about Gentry Williams. We've talked about all these incredible players, but we're going to talk specifically about Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, because as of right now, he has 3 of the official 5 visits kind of set in stone. And there's no surprise at who the 3 are. Right now, Oklahoma will be receiving the first, and Oklahoma will be receiving plenty of unofficial visits. And before we go much further, that is something I want to talk about. As important as official visits are, and they are incredibly important, never underestimate the importance of an unofficial visit. Remember that and keep track of that. But Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy's 3 officials right now are OU, A&M, and Ohio State. The remaining 2 are up in the air as to where he'll go. If I had to guess, my guess is probably going to be Alabama and Clemson for the remaining 2. Clemson is someone that Brownlow-Dindy has talked about that he has interest in. Clemson is very interested in him, and Alabama has really ramped up their process of trying to get Brownlow-Dindy in this class as of late. And so because of that, I think that the remaining 2 will be Alabama, Clemson, but who knows? This is going to be a really interesting battle for Brownlow-Dindy, one of the best players in all of the nation, one of the most sought-after players in all of the nation. And speaking about where Brownlow-Dindy will be deciding, if we take the Aggies on their word, they feel like they're number 2 on Brownlow-Dindy's list. Now, whether that's the case or not, I'm not sure. I do feel like Oklahoma is number 1, but Brownlow-Dindy, apparently the Aggies feel very confident about their ability to try and close some ground with Oklahoma. So it wasn't surprising at all when they were one of the teams named in the 3. The 3 being, once again, Oklahoma, A&M, Ohio State. The other 2 are going to be very interesting. I'm really going to be watching where those go, who gets them. Who do you think will get them? Because if I had to guess, once again, I think it'd be Alabama, Clemson. I think that just makes sense, but there are a lot of schools that are going to be trying to push for those last 2 official visits for Brownlow-Dindy. So as it currently sits for the Oklahoma Sooners, the class of 2022 is shaping up nicely, currently in the top 10 with a lot of room to go, with a lot of talented prospects, very interested in the Sooners, a lot of exciting battles to see, and the class of 2023, you have to love where you're starting, getting the crystal ball in for Malachi Nelson, and if you really listen to what Nelson has said, and you kind of look at the landscape of recruiting right now, I think that crystal ball is pretty good for him. Now, it's not going to come easy. The process is not done, but that right there is going to be a phenomenally interesting prospect to watch because he is incredibly talented. I can't wait to see what y'all are thinking. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe that the Oklahoma Sooners are ultimately able to land Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy? And let me know where you think his other 2 official visits will be. That's it. See ya.